Welcome to sneak peek number 5 of the SimGuardian. I can't believe we're already at part 5, and we're nearly at the end of the sneak peeks. Like, I'm getting really close, guys, at finishing this project, and I cannot wait to get the SimGuardian in your hands. But without further ado, let's dive in how to manage your rotational gameplay in the SimGuardian. So there are actually 2 places within the SimGuardian where you will be able to manage your households that are within rotational gameplay. So the first place is within your save file page or profile, and that is housed under households. So under this section, it's a subsection called rotational gameplay, but it's also under the plan section here. And then if you click here to rotations, you'll also get a collection of all the rotations across all your games and save files on one page that you can manage from a top level perspective. You play with your rotational households on a save file basis, so I imagine you'll be spending most of your time when you're managing those households doing that in the save file profile. So let's just open it up and see what we've got. So we have a notes section where you can just write down general notes about your rotational gameplay for this save file. So for example, when the households rotate, that could be weekly on every Friday at 2 a.m. Anything you want to keep in mind that's maybe not related to a household in particular, but you want to just, maybe it's a rule or just something you want to follow and keep top of mind, you can jot that down here, and you can write as much as you want. Here we have the view. So this is the heart of where you'll be managing your rotational gameplay. So first we have the rounds view. This is like a board view where you can see round for round where you are in your rotational gameplay. So we have the households. Each one of them has an order number because you play households in order usually, right? So in this case, the Muniz household is up first, then the Sans household, and then we would play the Goth household. We see that they're ordered and have their rows accordingly, but we also have rounds. So the rounds are the columns, and so we're currently in round 2 for the Muniz household. Our current household now, moving forward in our progressing with our rotational gameplay, would be naturally household number 2, the Sans household. So that's the current household. They're still in round 1. Once they've played for a week and it comes Friday again in the game, we'll move them here to round 2, and then the Goth household will be the current household. So I can actually do that. I can just, let's pretend, I've proceeded another 7 days in the game. It's now time for us to switch to the Goth household, so I can simply just drag the Sans household there, deselect the current household, and select the Goth household. And now we know we're currently still in round 1 playing household 3. So this is a really most high level you can get, where you just have as little information as possible, and it's just about moving the households throughout the rounds. Then we have the households view, where we have a little bit more information. We still know in which order the household is. We know the round. We know which household is current, so that's what this little icon here represents. But we also see the members of each household, the property that they live on, and the world and neighborhood that they live in. If this were a Sims 2 save file, we would see just the hood. For example, if this were a Sims 3 save file rotational gameplay, you would see the world. And then we have the character spreadsheet view, which is what I see a lot of rotational game players create in Excel. So I wanted to recreate that concept in Notion in the SimGuardian, but with a little bit more usefulness. So here we have, again, each household, but each member of the household also listed. So we're getting a bit more granular here. So in the rounds in the households view, we only had the households and maybe a little bit extra information. Now we see the members of each household and more details about each member. So we know a little bit more about them in general. So what's their life state, their age, maybe the most significant relationships they have. If they are in a legacy, we see that legacy role. And also I think what makes this super useful is any goals that your Sim has are automatically collected in these 2 areas. So we have their character goals and we have planned events. And so you see at one glance, per household member, what is important to them, what you can look forward to in that next round when you play with that family. Also, if you want to collect more information or see more information in this view, you can simply change which properties are shown. For example, if you also want to see the traits of those Sims, if you want to see any other additional information that you would also be able to grab in their Sim profile, you can show that here. That's really the beauty of Notion is you have information stored in the various databases and they can all be connected and then also shown in these different views in any way you'd like. So it's a way to connect information, but also you can really customize it and see what is important to you. So maybe you don't want to see the legacy roles, or maybe you don't care for this information. Well, you can just easily, with a click of a button, remove them from the view without removing them entirely from the system. And you only see what you really care about in that moment. And that moment would be for your rotational gameplay in the character spreadsheet. If you want to add a new household to the rotation, you can simply go to this tab here, and then you see all of the households listed in your current save file. So for example, we have currently 5 households saved for the save file. And if I say, okay, well, the Lewis household, I want them to join in on the rotational gameplay. I want to add them to the roster. So you would just select the round. So they're going to start in round 1, and they'll be the 4th household in line. And now they're also included in the lineup. And you'll see that reflected in all of the views. So we see the Lewis household last up to go. The Lewis household will also be listed here, still under the round 1 area. And they're also in the character sheet. And as you can see, just with the others, if the character has any goals, they'll be shown here. If they have any planned events lined up, they'll be shown here. And I really must say, I think this is really my favorite part of the way I set up managing rotational gameplay in the SimGuardian. Another good example on how connected everything is in the SimGuardian. It really is a good example of how you can have one piece of information saved somewhere in a database, consistently. So, you have your sim profiles that I set up to always ask you for the same type of information. You can see that information selectively in all sorts of areas within the SimGuardian. So not just on the sim profile where you've saved it, but everywhere else. And that's because I'm working predominantly with records. So I'm not typing in any information on a blank page. Nothing stands by itself. So there is one exception that I'll be introducing possibly next week. But in general, every information you put into the SimGuardian is part of a record. So these character goals, the legacy role, it is connected to Ida's profile, right? It's connected to her character record in the character database. And so none of the information is lost. And so I can show any of those bits of information in all sorts of other places with just a custom view. And I can actually show you, if I open up her profile, you'll see those plans, those goals that we see here in the household rotation view are here as well. And if I were to complete one, let's say she's managed to find peaceful surroundings 40 times, which goes towards her life goal achievement. I just click complete and it goes away here and it goes away here. That's also something that's really cool. So you can associate a goal with an achievement, which can be a life stage, like a life goal. It can be a skill, it could be a career and whatnot. You can also associate it with a life stage, which is here the case. And I've actually created a bucket list kind of overview that you can use to sort out specific life goals that you want for your character that aren't necessarily related to an aspiration from the game, but it's just something general that you want that sim to achieve by a certain time or by a certain end of a life stage, and you can collect that here. And those are also shown in the main goals view as well. So, and as I mentioned, we also have the rotations view. This is where you can just have a general overview of rotational gameplay. I think most useful will probably be this view here, where you can see per save file which households are in rotation, again ordered by the household order and the round that they're currently in. You see the household members, the property, and the world that they live in. You also, in addition to this, see the game and the save file, because here you're seeing all of your rotational gameplay across not only all the save files, but also across all games. They're all collected here. So if a household is part of a rotational gameplay setup that you've got going, it will show up here. Again, you'll probably be using the save file page for the most part to manage your rotational gameplay, because that's where it happens, right? It happens per save file. But, for any reason, if you want to see if you have rotational gameplay currently in a certain save file, or you just want one quick glance, then you can just head over to this page and you'll see it. So that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this little preview, this sneak peek about how you can manage your rotational gameplay in the SimGuardian, and that whether it be for The Sims 2, Sims 3, or Sims 4, or upcoming games. And again, if you have any suggestions, feedback, concerns even about how this is set up, please let me know. Please share that feedback. I want to not only create the perfect tracker for myself, but for you as well. And so if there's anything you think can be added or changed or anything, then let me know. And I'm happy to look into it and see how I can incorporate it into the SimGuardian. Next week, I'll be showing a sneak peek on how you can collect your storyline ideas and your own simmer goals inside the SimGuardian. Until then, happy simming!